Okay, today I'm going to be working on probably just one bug right now, and going to be doing some testing on the latest refactor that I've been working on, which is why there hasn't really been much for updates recently. Been doing a bit of a refactor. Beforehand, though, I'm going to take a look at this really quick bug where they say that the tick is not resetting for the client manager when they stop and reconnect. The last packet tick specifically. Let's see. Says I do update it in the client manager, which makes sense. Probably also be updated when the client stops, which they've already discovered this. So let's see. They said that they already implemented a fix and it seems to be working for them. Resetting and initializing when the server or client starts and stops inside Time Manager. So that's probably right. Oh. Inconsistent modifiers style missing private. Oh, I didn't even notice that. When I had Visual Studio, it wasn't telling me that. I must have forgotten to add the modifier. That's kind of cool that JetBrains writer tells me that. About a few things I've messed up on like that, just a few small things, but nonetheless, pretty cool. All right, so let's see. Going down to where I subscribe to the updates. Here we go. So we're going to go here. And that's right down here. So if stop doesn't equal started, we'll just reset it here. This is fine too. We'll do last. Actually, it's going to be under. Let me see what they put. This is last packet tick. Let me make sure it's not actually called. No, it doesn't look like it is. It would be called somewhere in this class, and it's not. So they are right. Didn't have to initialize it, I wouldn't think. Let's see what we got here. It might be under the runtime where it's being initialized. Let's see. Let's actually go to the type, and we'll just look for instances of where initialize is being called. But is being initialized here. It's not being reset on stop. Okay. The problem with resetting it only on client stop is if your client host, it should be, you don't want to reset it for the server if the client stops. But the server doesn't. So we're going to do something here. We're going to do if network manager dot is server started. We're going to reset it. So if the server is not started, we'll reset it here. Just make sure that that actually, yep. And we're going to go down to the server one, and we can just reset it no matter what here, because if the server's not started, then the client's not started. That should resolve that one. I'm going to let them know though that needs to be done that way so that they don't checked out the code. You will want to make sure LPT does not reset if the client or server is connected. Solution is to reset if server state is not started, or if client state is not started and server started. Comment. Okay, so now if I refresh my comments on there, I'm going to mark this as resolved pending update or pending release. All right, so that's the only bug report I'm going to look at right now. We got a bunch that are pending release. I haven't put out the new release yet because I've been wanting to get some stuff done first. So I reworked a lot of the spawn code and a lot of the syncvar code. That's what I need to test now. I'm going to go ahead and go to this can go down here under my syncvar test. Okay. So there was an issue stating that there was a problem with the host callback. So I'm pretty sure this worked in my test, but they said there's still certain conditions. Uh-oh. Why can't I click anything? Not broken. No errors. Auto start on host. What the heck? Ah, well, that's weird. Not a good start. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. I didn't even change anything. It's now compiling. Is Unity being problematic? I didn't change anything. It shouldn't be. Well, I did. I changed the time manager earlier, but did it not compile from that? Yeah, so I think Unity is broken. So I'm going to close Unity and reopen it. I'm going to force close it. Okay. Let me open that back up. What tutorials do I recommend? Are you doing client authoritative, prediction? I have never seen this before. Okay. So it's something in the cache. Let me try it again. Maybe it'll fix itself if I reopen it. This isn't fishnet related. This is 100% Unity being a problem right now. Okay, no errors that time. There we go. All right, so it's showing both callbacks. Where's this from? Okay, so showing both callbacks. Remove the player object out of range. It should stop. This is the object that's making the callbacks. Okay, you can see the visibility stopped. So it should be server only. Move it back in range. Now it's getting both. That's correct. So I think the issue people reported, I'll have to look at it again, but I think it's depends on if you spawn with it visible or not visible. So what I mean by that is the player is spawning close enough to where it should be visible right away. But I think they're saying if you spawn outside of that and then move into range, it's not working right. So I'm going to put that spawn point over here, which should be outside the range. Player spawned in, and the server's only getting a callback. Oops, that's the spawn point. You got to move the player over. And now they're both getting a callback. So that seems to be working fine, which means they might be having another issue perhaps. I'm going to do one more test here. I'm going to change this to spawn. Actually, I'm just going to make it a prefab. Var callback, var object, and I'm going to do this and do think var object spawn point. Put this just below the player a little bit, but so it's still in range. And I'm going to make a new script here. What's probably going to happen is, I have to guess, I'm not going to be able to replicate it, and I'm going to have to send them my test project here, which I think they already have one version of, but I'm probably going to have to send them a version of this one, of course. Sync object spawner. All right, so we're going to do public boolean or bool spawn. We're going to do public transform spawn position, and I'm just going to do all this and add an update. We'll do if not base.is server initialized and return. Only the server should be respawning. If not spawn return. And now we're going to do spawn equals false. We'll do, get rid of these. We're going to do, oh yeah, I need the prefab, don't I? Why did it do that? Prefab, or we'll say knob equals instantiate prefab at spawn position dot position, spawn position dot rotation. And we're going to do base dot spawn knob. Okay. Let me do something else in here, just to public bool give ownership. We're going to do something like this as well. Network connection owner equals time manager dot unset connection. Oh, sorry, it should be network manager unset, or it should be empty. Pretty sure it's empty, but there we go. Now we're going to do if base.servermanager.clients.count is greater than 0. Then we're going to set the owner to the first client instead. So we're going to do base.servermanager.clients values.first. Okay, and now pass in the owner here. So we're going to have the option of assigning it to the owner as well. Of course, we're going to do that only if give ownership is true. All right, so let's try that, see what happens. Message retracted. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to add the spawner. Must have made a typo in. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test it spawning when as soon as like the server starts. You know, I should probably update this real quick to say object name. So that way identify which one is actually printing. Pause it real quick. So let's see, scene, callback server true. This is a spawned one, callback true. And spawned one in the scene is okay. So I don't think the client is getting the scene callback one, but that probably makes sense because this is centered in the client spawning over there. So let me move the spawn over, or the player. Oh, I lost vision of that one. Let me see what the outer bounds are so I can actually have them in vision of both here. All right, so let's move the spawn point closer. All right, so right now they're not in observation of either one. If I move closer, they are in that one, and they're getting the callback for it. And if they move over, they're getting the callback for both of them. If we move away, they're not getting it for either. If we move closer, they're getting it for the scene one, of course. All right, so that is working. Do -1. Okay, so instead of spawning immediately, I'm going to, well, first I'm going, yeah, we already know that it works whenever the client spawns in and it's right next to it. So I'm going to untick spawn here, and I'm going to wait until client is closer. To be the server callbacks only right now. It should still only be the server callbacks because they're not in range of the scene one. I'm going to spawn, and they're getting callbacks for both, and that's working fine. Now, if they have ownership, they shouldn't be able to lose observation, so it should work right away. Yep, and it is. I can't replicate the issue. Let me just double check it, I guess. Sure, I am reading the issue properly. All right, let's see. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Okay. For example, demonstrates the sky above, how it fills in that, blah, blah, blah. Start server. And another random int will be assigned. Previous int is still at 0. Bug also. Connect as client. Notice that player syncvar is assigned random int on changes fired. Okay. No NPC is syncvar. Why? So it looks like they're saying the previous is 0, not that it's not synchronizing. Well, I mean, Tugboat's way more optimized than any other transport we have. And the thing is completely different too. Tugboat is basically a socket transport where you'd probably have your own dedicated servers to connect to, which means lower latency, more setup though. You could use something like EdgeGap, for example. You could use their relay or hosting services, or Fishy Unity Transport, which will have more latency, but it has the relay built in for you. I don't know how much Unity Transport costs though. So if you plan on using that as a release, I highly recommend you shop around for relay transports, because I really doubt that Unity is the cheapest option given their track record. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so previous is 0 on those two, which makes sense because they're not set before. Let me turn off give ownership. Was it actually printing for the scene one as server false? But the client wasn't in range of it. Let me check something real quick. Turn off spawning. Okay, maybe I was seeing things. Oh, it's because I had an object spawn next to it that was in range. That was actually right. Okay. So the server is showing the right previous. If I move the client in range, pause. The first false, the client is showing the correct previous. If I clear that out and move over to the next one, I want to make sure. Okay. So on the scene object, they're showing the wrong previous, but on the spawn object, they're showing the right previous. I don't think that's necessarily wrong though, because they're getting the original spawn message, and it's basically like, hey, this is what it is after it spawned. I think the reason that this one had the previous value is because they got the latest. You know what? That might actually be a bug. I bet you they got the latest value of this one in the spawn message, and it should have been the case for this one too. So let me disable this. Do another test real quick. Yeah, okay, so that one has the previous value. Let me re-enable that and disable the spawner. Move the player over. Previous value 0. All right, so it might be the issue. That might be what they're talking about. Let's see. The sync var should be delivered in the spawn message. So I'm going to go over to sync var here. I'm going to go to probably be under read. I've been working on very slowly renaming internal methods to make more sense. More consistent, I guess. Inconsistent modifiers? Really? That's what you're complaining about? That's fine. I guess that aligns with me trying to make the code more consistent. All right, so I got the read, but it's still showing 0 as the previous. So that might be the tick. Let's see. No, that is indeed the spawn. Is this from the spawn, or is this from... Yeah, this is also from the spawn. Interesting. I wonder why this one is showing 0 and the other one is not. At the very least, they should be the same behavior. All right, let's see. This one is red. Let me actually print the frame count too. Add a couple spaces. That way I can tell if it's happening in the same frame or not. Okay. Value red, frame 88. Oh, it showed the value of 0 too. Interesting. I'm a little confused. I could have sworn I saw that it was showing not 0 as the previous. Because it kind of makes sense if it's 0. But it doesn't make sense if it's different for spawn versus non-spawn ones. Alright. Object name 0, that's a spawned one, because that's the clone. Scene 0. So the behavior is consistent. I'm going to have to give them this, I suppose, because this seems to be working fine. I don't see any issues with that, and maybe there's just like a misunderstanding, or maybe they are thinking there could be an improvement. They expect one thing and there could be an improvement. So I'll have to get back to them on that and see exactly what they mean, but as of right now, that does not seem to be a bug. So next bit is making sure everything works right for the spawn payloads. This is going to be really hard to test. I was on dedicated server testing another bug, bug report, which wasn't a bug that I could see. The next thing I need to do now is test the spawn position and whatnot. This is going to primarily be an issue with individual clients, not client host. I'm going to start another Unity up right now. Any minute now. It might be re-import stuff because I wiped out the library cache the other day, and I don't think I've opened the clone since, so it probably has to rebuild the cache. Oh, there we go. All right. We're gonna go ahead and what? Why does it seem like it's printing so much quicker now? Maybe maybe the server frame rate was restricted before, which that shouldn't be an issue, but now I'm gonna have to retest. Pause. First false is 0, that's correct. Get my player. Frame rate, tick rate shouldn't affect any of this, I just want to make sure. I have to disable the spawn one because I'm not going to be able to track that. Alright, first false, 0. Okay, so it is working fine independent of the frame rate. So I'm going to open the script up so we don't get, not that one, this one, so there's not log spams. And I actually have another scene that's way more complex to test. To test the spawn stuff. So we're gonna go down to this test. Has a lot of stuff in it. Fire that up. So this randomizes the position. If you didn't see, it has some scene objects, and it has some scene objects which are nested. And whenever we hit play and the server starts, it also spawns additional ones that are nested and not nested. And it's basically a test to make sure that all that lines up and whatnot. Part of the spawn delivery test. That's primarily what the rework is for. All right, so that looks right. No errors, and the server didn't start. That's fine. Visually, that looks right. We would notice a difference if it wasn't visually accurate. I now need to, I think they already have, yeah, they already have network transforms on them, on some of them anyway. So I'm going to first test the network transform. Let's see, which one is that? This one I think has it. Yeah. So I think that's a green. Yeah, so I moved the green over. The green didn't move over. That's a problem. Let's see. That is a problem that should be updating. Okay. So immediately, not good. Let's see what could be going on. I'm gonna go look at the network transform. Actually, this is weird because I'm pretty positive I tested this before. I ran a bandwidth test and it was sending out the updates. Oh, maybe the client wasn't getting them because I ran it as host. And that's could be what's happening. But anyway, let's see. Void data received. And do a little bit debug here. Okay. If I move this, yeah, I should be getting that debug. It's not happening though. Let's see. We'll go ahead and do data. I think I know why this is happening. It's probably not a big deal. Actually, let me put it here. Because there's a few checks before the data received, and I just want to make sure it's not actually being blocked elsewhere. For example, here. Okay. Who needs breakpoints? So it is receiving it. Okay. Let me check the other one, which is compiling. So that's offset. That means the spawn's working. Move it. Oh, it is receiving it. It's just not updating it. So, okay. So that freaking aggressive end. So I've been told as of recent that this does not make any difference anymore. And the more recent Unity versions. So I'm just gonna go to project fishnet.runtime, and I'm gonna replace it with nothing. Now I'm gonna obviously validate this beforehand, before I actually push it through. Actually, why don't I do that now? Does it make a difference? Unity. I'm probably not gonna find what I'm looking for. Yeah, you know, these are all old too. That's kind of the issue. One doesn't seem, yeah, 4 years ago. I don't think it matters anymore, and honestly, the person that told me this is right like 99% of the time. So I'm going to choose to believe them because they're really good at optimizations, definitely better than I am in terms of like C# stuff, .NET stuff. Let's try this again real quick. All right, so I know it's getting the update, but it's not actually moving it. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open it in a new window, new editor, minimize this one. I like how quick that is too. But with Rider, it is so much quicker. I'm gonna add in some tests here. Let's do if not base.is server started. Only print if client only, basically. Okay. These ones aren't calling, and they shouldn't be calling. That's makes sense, of course. Let's see where it's not really behaving. So I don't need to recompile that one, but I do need to recompile this one here. All right, moving the object. So it's making all the way down to C. That's the editor I did not mean to open. Minimize, okay. So this is stopping it. Is it always stopping there? It looks like it is always stopping there. Okay. So interesting. Okay. Kind of weird. What if this is because of the change I just made in the time manager? We'll see. I don't see how that could be the issue though. That should only happen like as soon as the client stops. What? That's not right. Yeah, I mean last packet tick should never be 0. Interesting. There's no way. Like, let me check. You know, I wonder if reset is clearing the network manager. Oops. Yeah, it is actually clearing the network manager, which is no bueno. That's why it's not working. So what was that change I just made? Well, that person is... That's probably why they said they also initialized it on start, which is why they did not have that problem. It should be reset ticks. Okay. Should be good now. All right, this is the nested one. Move it over, and it's off my screen because right. Position is the same, but one camera sees it and the other camera doesn't. It's the same camera. Someone explain this madness to me. Oh, it's just not updating. Oh, wait. Okay, I see what's going on now. The position is the same, but this got unnested somehow. Let me... So it's not sending the latest parent when I move it, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's got to be a network transform bug. I don't recall actually changing that though. Let me remove all this debug here. Okay. It could be something else in the code with the parenting because I probably did change that. That's the only place it's used. Void update parent. A synchronized parent checked. I mean, even if it's, well, I guess if it's not checked, it would send null, but it is checked. So that shouldn't be the problem. This is why we're testing all this. It was, like I said, it was a pretty big refactor. I'm gonna have to lower the tick rate because this is going to spam. I don't think I need 2 editors open either for this one. Tick rate, we'll go with 3. Wrong class. Okay. All right. Not logging invalid parent. That's not the case. All right. Yeah, I mean, pun is entirely client authoritative. Some of it's the same. Like as far as RPCs, pun has their own version of that, and we have our own version of that. How you synchronize things though in Fishnet is probably going to be a lot easier than it is in pun. So it says parent null false. It might just not be sending it then. Let me just comment all this out real quick. Okay. Yes, I know. Precision, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, this was the change. It should be if parent behavior doesn't equal null. So it was a change in the network transform. I'm just basically, I did a big refactor and I'm just testing things out. Testing out the refactor to make sure nothing broke, which things did break, but that's why we're running the test. Cool, it's working. Okay. Now we're going to test the parent change. So let's see, we're going to just, I guess, have a parent setter here. Change it to the other scene object. Go. And there it is. I'm going to change it now to a spawned object. Make sure. There it goes. And there it is. Okay, perfect. That appears to be working fine. I now remember. I remember why I did this now is because when I tested this with Delta writers, this shouldn't be needed. Basically, what it's saying is if there's a parent, it's sending the change Delta as nested every time, so that it also sends the parent behavior ID. Whereas previously, it was saying only send it if the parent had changed. So if the parent was exactly the same, even if there were actually a parent, it wouldn't send that there was a parent, resulting in, you know, no parent being sent, which is bad. Yeah. So that should be fixed. Let me just make sure I got all my debugs out. Did, okay. That's everything. Sync vars are working. RPC links are working. I'm gonna make sure I actually have RPC links enabled. Oh no, I don't. RPC links might not be working. So, because I remember they weren't working when I last tested, and that's why I was kind of like, oh, maybe they are now. They're not, or they could be. I had them off. I need to test it again. If they aren't working, it shouldn't be a big deal though. They're not working. Oh, that doesn't have the network transform on it. This does. They're not working. Okay, it's fine. I don't need the other editor to test this either. I should just be able to do it here. I knew this would probably be broken, which is completely okay. Because I know it's nothing serious. That's not getting the RPC. But if I were to uncheck using RPC links for observer RPCs, it should get it. Yeah. No big deal. I can fix it. Alright. Make sure it's busted. Okay. So the only issue with that is that it's just not sending the RPC links right, or it's not reading them right, which again, I refactored the spawning, so no surprise. Okay, right spawn. RPC links. Okay, so we're going to do. Just going to make sure that they're actually writing first. And I'm going to disable everything that doesn't have a network transform just to make my life a little. Well, I guess everything that doesn't have a spawn. Everything that can spawn, rather, I should say. That way, I'm only going to get one print. There's one object. That's another bug with this release that's not out yet, so don't worry. Is whenever you add a new object, it's not rebuilding the scene ID on it when you add it when it should be. It might show up as disabled. Not be doing. It should be. Why is it disabling it? Okay, generator for one object, saving. There we go. Anyway, that's the other bug, which is not yet live. It should be pretty small. Again, this wrote 25 length and RPC links. That seems maybe. Look at this real quick. So it should be 16, 32. I'm sorry. I'm reading 6. I'm adding these up. It should be 2, 4, 5. We're looking at 5 bytes. Plus, it should be for only observer and target RPCs. We're going to do a quick check here. We're going to do debug log writing link for item dot value dot RPC type. I just want to see like what it shouldn't be that many bytes being used. Should not be that many. This might have been an issue for a while. Like this, where it's for some reason it seems like it's writing too many bytes. It's a one-time thing. It's like a spawn message, so it shouldn't really be the end of the world. But it shouldn't still be writing all these bytes. I think this is. Okay, yeah, that's right. So weird. I can up the tick rate a little bit so it's not taking forever to connect and print and all that stuff. All right, hash 02473, all on the same object, but the You know what I should do? I should do GameObject.name, type name. See if it's all coming from the same script. Oh, there could be other RPCs in there. I don't think there are, but there could be. Let's check out. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the same one. Let's start over. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 1. Yeah, so there actually are 4, so it's not writing too many. That's actually 5. Yeah, that's actually not writing too many. It is working properly. So no bug there. Just wanted to make sure. So it's just not reading them, I guess, which again, I knew this was going to happen. It's fine. Int, you see link start position equals writer dot position log RFC link end right link equals writer dot position minus RFC link start position. All right, test this out. So it's saying it wrote 25 RPC or 25 bytes for the RPC links, and it's saying that it wrote 27 total, which includes the header of this. So we got the reserved bytes of 2, which indicates the length of RPC bytes written. That seems right. So let's go look at the spawn, because that's where it's going to be wrong. See, we're going on an hour here, so I'm going to probably be packing up after this issue is resolved. Let's see, RPC links. Debug.log RPC link read size segment size. It just messed up my debug somehow. Like that. Oh, it added. Okay. I'm still adjusting the IDE settings a little bit for adding brackets and removing brackets. I used Visual Studio for a very, very long time. So adjusting to some of the minor differences like that is just taking a little bit of work, but you can also adjust them in the settings. I just haven't gotten around to everything. So it's saying it's reading them properly, or it's reading the length of 25 properly. That means it's most likely just not applying them. So I'm gonna do this, keep that there, and then do debug.log. Segment size is RPC links.count. So far, it looks like it's serializing properly and deserializing properly. Most likely, I just need to look at how they're being applied. Yeah, so that looks to be right. I don't know if you saw that. I went there really quick. So it's writing 25 in length. The total packet is 27, or is, I guess, the size indicator plus them. It's saying it read that there's 25 in length, which is correct. It's applying that and setting it to a segment, which is also correct. Which means they're most likely just not being applied properly. Let me, you know what the issue is, I think? Let me check something. I think I know what the problem is. Well, one, I'm reading it here. I'm reading the length, which is already been written, so that's wrong. Okay. So the issue is basically that this is going through each network behavior and it's writing the links for that network behavior. But if we go over here, again, this was a refactor, so this is why this is all messy. It's being sorted out for the better. It's not actually writing the ID of the network behavior. So you're basically just getting the total link written for all network behaviors, and it's writing the links, but you don't know what network behaviors they go to. That's why it's being problematic. What I'm going to do is I'll probably do if RBC links count is greater than 0. I'll do if they equal 0. I'm going to return. I'm not going to write any. Otherwise, we're going to do writer.write network behavior ID. We're just going to pass in the component index. The ID. Oh, it's you got to pass in the actual network behavior. This. Okay, so we're writing the ID. So we know which one to apply it to now. And now we're going to go over to, this should change too. This should change to written 26 because there's only one network behavior that has it. 27, not 25. Are the IDs writing as a short, perhaps? I thought they're only using a byte. Oh, that's probably not what I intended. This is the only usage. Should be if NB equals null, then write uint. This was never used before, apparently, this method. Uint 8 unpacked, and that should be network behavior dot unset network behavior ID. Else, say like that shouldn't be using 2 bytes for that. Write uint 8 unpacked nb dot component index. I don't have a. So yeah, this was never used before. So let me just do something about this, I guess. This is going to be pretty straightforward. Okay. As I was saying, it should be 26 written. There we go. Okay. So if we go back here, client objects. All right, so we don't have to iterate that anymore. We're gonna do while reader that remaining is greater than 0, and we're going to first do byte component index. I might change this to component ID because I'm going to slowly be phasing out the term index, since realistically they're IDs. Everything else uses IDs. So reader.read network behavior ID. All right. So now we're just going to, I need to write the link too, don't I? So I go back here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There's never going to be more. Actually, I don't know if there's a limit on RPC links. Like there's like RPCs, I should say. Let me just check something real quick. This is gonna have so many results. Not as many results as I thought. Maybe if I click solution. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you can actually have more than 256 RPCs. So this needs to be a short, view short. We only support 65,000 RPCs per network behavior. So don't exceed that, okay? It's a lot. If you're doing that, you're doing something very wrong. Honestly, you shouldn't even exceed the byte value. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna do view short int RPC links count equals RPC links dot count. Okay. Wrong, is it? What? Okay. There should only be one. All right, so that is now the count. Why do you expect that? I'm confused why it thinks it should be. Why it thinks there should be another bracket there. There's not one here. I think it's a little busted. I think I broke it. The one thing I did notice with Rider, and I don't know if this is like a common issue, but sometimes if you open it in the same window, like whenever you open up a script reference, for example, if it's in a different project, it'll say, do you want to use this window or a new window? And sometimes when you open it in the same window, you'll get those really weird errors that aren't really there, like you just saw. And all you gotta do is just close it out and reopen it. See, no longer there. Okay, so now I need to go back to here. Count equals reader dot read uint 16 unpacked. All right. So now we're just gonna go here. This is gonna be a for loop now. I think that should. What is this? Oh, that's for all RPC links. Okay. Got it. So it should be linking it to the object ID and the component index and setting it. That should be right. All right, let's test this out. Yeah, so it says it's getting it now. Let me go ahead and just remove that, or rather deactivate, I should say. re-enable all this. We're going to get a bit of spam at first. Okay, well that's wrong. It shouldn't be sending it over and over and over again. Might have to fix that, but it should now work with the links. That's probably the network transform being funny after the refactor. Yeah, saying it got it now at least. It's moving it over. Yeah, okay. So it is getting it. It's still sending it regularly. The only reason it could be doing that is if it thinks nothing has, or I'm sorry, if it thinks something has changed every time. I'm pretty sure I know what's causing that. I'm going to keep this here though, and I'm going to remove all of this stuff. I don't think I touched this at all. Just want to make sure. Okay, I did not. This one I probably did. Comment that out. That's supposed to be gone. Get rid of that. Okay. This one has comments, but I need to keep them in there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and back all this up. And then I'm going to call it for the stream. I will be continuing working on this later. Probably going to get that resolved today and hopefully maybe get out a release today. It's hard to say. Oh, you added spaces. Let me see if I can undo that. Is it a structure? I thought it was a class. So it adds spaces, or I guess line feeds between properties, but not fields, and that's my doing. I changed that in the settings, but I want it to not add them between properties either. So let me see if I can find that. Line feed. Okay. There's a lot of lines in here. Let me just do feed. Got to be in here somewhere. I know it is. Okay, around field. Around, here we go. So I change this to 0. It wasn't that one. Okay. Let me try another one. I wish there was a way to save without having to close out of this. Have to reopen it. That's kind of annoying. I do like that it shows you like a preview of what it does when you change it. This is really cool. I really like this. Like, that is super awesome. Okay, I think that's it. Are you kidding me? Oh, so it was one of those. It's just I have to correct it now. Okay, well, Oh, I also removed all those. Okay. Anyway, back this up. Let's do what did we fix today? Fixes we'll say time manager, RPC links, MT. Alright, this was an actual fix here. Let me go ahead and open up. Get out of here. I don't like Edge, I just use it because it doesn't have my history or anything when I'm streaming anyway. Alright. Fixed time manager dot last packet tick, not resetting on network stop. I need to actually tell them that they need to use reset fix. Actually, they have a solution that's working for them right now, so I'll just let them use what they're using, and then I will update it with mine, which will fix it in the end. Let's see, these are all, oh, you know what? Changed, removed. Aggressive inlining, I'm trying to find out. There you go. Then we got the RPC links. This is something I like to do. I actually have like I actually have a to-do list and like a Trello for all this too, but for something really serious, I like to add in this. So that way when I hit play, I'm going to see that right away. I mean, obviously, if I'm in this scene, I'm going to see that and be like, what the heck? But no matter what, I'm going to see that and know to resolve it. Okay, let me go to my Trello and update that as well. I do need it on both spots. Oh, I'm apparently not logged into my Trello. Or am I? Let's go to... Nope, I'm not. Okay. So I'm going to do the Trello thing later, but that's all right. This is a stopping point. We fixed one of the issues. We removed this because a very smart person, I don't know if they want me to mention them by their name or not, so I won't for now, but they said this is basically meaningless these days in most cases. I just removed all of them. Did some fixes on some things I broke during the refactor, which is not public yet, so you're not going to experience any of those in the current release. And discovered that the network transform is setting every tick, which is probably a really minor fix as well. I'm going to take a look at that as well. And let me go ahead and back this up. Make sure I'm on the developer branch. I am. Oh, one thing I want to show you. Oh, this is probably, I'll have to go back a branch or go back. Probably to here. I'm going to show you in a second. I just got to let everything reload. All right. We're going to start adding in benchmarks where you can just open it up and test it yourself, because we've been getting a lot of requests for that, and I use these too. So this is the network transform. As of current, what it is in the most recent releases. It is sending about 165-ish. I think on average it sends about 169 or 168. This is for moving on all axes at all times and rotating 33% of the time, and that averages to about, for the objects and whatnot, that's about 11.2 bytes per update. So something else here though to show you is if we go to this one here, let me just reset to this branch. This is what our new Delta stuff, and this doesn't really require any, like, I didn't write any special serializers for anything. I gotta get rid of this though. I didn't write any special serializers for this change. This is just the new Delta code doing its thing. And like I said, it's going to affect the whole project in a very positive way. So the average now is about I think it balances out to about 148 or 149, which I believe was like 9 point. I posted it in chatting at some point. Let's see, 9.8 bytes down from 11.2 per object. You can see that there's a little bit of a difference. Once it's actually optimized though, like if I might, which I probably will, write a custom serializer for the network transform, it's going to be a little bit lower as well, probably closer to probably like 8.5 bytes per send. So that'd be nice. And there's also some other stuff coming for network transform for pro members as well. But yeah, I think I'm good here. I've been streaming for hour 24. I'm gonna go ahead and call the stream for the day and try to get the latest fixes complete and available out today. All right, well, thanks everyone. I'm gonna jump off. Enjoy the rest of your day.